Hello and thanks for watching Best Maths Tutors. I'm continuing to go through the Edexcel 2019 Foundation Tier Paper 2, and this is question 23, and we'll be covering all the questions, so if you find this helpful, please consider subscribing to our channel. So this question is where we've got a cuboid with these dimensions 19, 6 and 30 centimetres, and we're told that it's 2/3 full of water. We're also told that a cup holds 275 millilitres of water, and we've got to find out what's the greatest number of cups that can be completely filled with water from this container. So there's a couple of things that we do actually need to know for this question. One is the conversion between litres and centimetres cubed. So we need to know that 1 litre is actually equal to 1,000 centimetres cubed. So the first thing I'm going to do is work out what's the volume of this cuboid, and the volume of a cuboid is given by the length, so that's the 30, times by the width, so I'm going to call that one the width, W is 6, and times by 19, times by the height, which is 19 there. So it's 30 times by 6 times by 19. And because we're on the calculator paper, I'm just going to type them straight into the calculator. 30 times 6 times by 19. And for that, 3,420. So equals 3,420. And so that's centimetres cubed, because we've been working in centimetres here. And we know that since 1 litre is equal to 1,000 centimetres cubed, well, actually, since 1 litre is also equal to 1,000 millilitres, then really we could say, if we've got the answer in centimetres cubed, we can just write it in millilitres. So we can say that 3,420 centimetres cubed is actually equal to 3,420 millilitres, because 1 centimetre cubed is the same as 1 millilitre. And that's used for working in millilitres here, because the cup is actually measured in millilitres as well. What we do need to know, though, is the container is 2/3 full of water. So what I'm going to do is the volume of water is going to be given by 2/3 times this 3,420. So 2/3 times 3,420. And if I wasn't on the calculator paper, I could do that by dividing by 3 and then timesing by 2. But since we are on this calculator paper, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the fraction button, 2 over 3, and then times by 3,420. And so that gives me the volume of water in millilitres, 2,280. 280 millilitres. Okay. What we need to do is make sure, I've worked in millilitres here, which is very handy because the cup's given in millilitres as well. So we needed to be in the same units, millilitres and millilitres. So in order to find the number of cups, all we need to do is we can say that the number of cups is going to be given by the total volume of water. So total vol of water divided by the volume of a cup, so volume of 1 cup. And so that would be 2,280 divided by 275. And again, I'm going to just do that straight on the calculator. The fraction means the top divided by the bottom. So I'm just going to put that in like that. 2, that's glitching a little bit there. 2280 divided by 275. And we get that as a fraction. But if we press the SD button, it'll give it as a decimal. So there we go. So 8.29 to 2 decimal places. 8.29. Now, we're asked for the greatest number of cups that can be completely filled. So really what this is telling us is we've got 8 and a bit. So the 0.29 is a bit of a cup. So the total number that can actually be completely filled means that we've got the 8 completely filled. So that's that question done. So I'm going to move on now to question 24. So this is a question with a right angled triangle, and we've got to calculate the length AB, which is the one going between A and B. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label that as X, and we've got to give our answer correct to 2 decimal places. So this is actually a SOHCAHTOA question. So SOHCAHTOA. And in each one of those, the S, the O, and the H, CAH, TOA, all represent something. So the S represents sine, and it's actually telling us that sine of the angle. So I'm going to say, I'm going to use theta. This is might sound a little complicated, but because I've used X, I don't want to get confused with the same letter. Theta, I'm just using as a way of representing any angle. So we don't know what the angle is when we're setting this up. So theta could be anything. In this case, it's 38 degrees. Okay, so we're just using that to represent an angle. But sine of the angle is equal to the opposite, which is what the O stands for, over the hypotenuse. The C stands for cosine, which is abbreviated to cos. So cos of the angle is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And the T stands for tangent, and that's tan theta is the opposite over the adjacent. And when we're doing these questions, the best thing to do is actually label the sides. So compared to this angle here, this is the opposite. As we can see, it's opposite it. So if we drew an arrow looking at the opposite side, that would be this one. This one is the adjacent. Adjacent means next to. And this one, the longest side, is always the hypotenuse, and it's the one that's opposite the right angle. So if we look at what information we've got, we need to include the length we're looking for, and we need to include the information that we've got. So we've got the opposite and the hypotenuse, and so that one is sine. So we can set up our equation. We can say sine of the angle, so sine 38 is actually equal to the opposite, well, the opposite is x, which is what we're looking for, over the hypotenuse, which is 16. And this gives us an equation we can use. So we can say, if we was to multiply both sides by 16, well, the 16s would cancel, and it'll leave me with 16 times sine 38. So x is equal to 16 times sine 38. And let's just move this over here. So clear that off from the last question. We should make sure we've got a little D up there, if you can see where I'm pointing. So the D on the calculator, and that stands for degrees. So we need to be in the correct mode for that. If we're in the wrong one, we might have an R there. So the way we would deal with this is we go Shift Setup, and we can see, in the case of my calculator, we've got angle unit. So angle unit, if I go press 2, I've got 3 options. So at GCSE, all you need is option 1, which is degrees. So there we go. So what I'm going to do then is 16 times sine. Sin is just an abbreviation of sine. It's not that I'm saying it in a strange way. So sine 38. Close that, and then there we go. That gives us our length of our side accurately there. So 9.85058. So 9.85058, etc. But we want it to 2 decimal places. So we've got to round that up. I'm going to round it up by cutting it off here, because this is our first decimal place. This is our second decimal place. So if we do that, because the 0 is not 5 or more, we just keep this one as it is. If the 0 had been 5 or more, we would have added 1 here onto the second decimal place. So to 2 decimal places, this is 9.85, and it's centimetres. So it's important to look at what the units are there, and that is centimetres. So I hope you find that helpful, and if so, please consider subscribing to our channel and giving us a thumbs up for the video. Thanks for watching.